We're talking They Will Kill You, new movie with Zazie Beetz, and have to say there's a lot more to this than just a trailer. Yeah, we do have an action movie, almost mindless action movie in here, but there's a lot more underneath. This is Minor League Films. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
There has to be a way out of here.
The building was designed to be a death trap.
So, got my guy Scotty here. Yeah, a lot to talk about with this movie. So They Will Kill You, and not gonna lie here, I think we both went to see this, and for me, I was not really excited to see it. I was like, it looks okay. The action is pretty cool. It looks like, but was not happy going to the theater. I was like, I gotta go see this. We're gonna see. I guess it'll be average. Pleasantly surprised early on. I'll say there is a lot more to this action. This movie, honestly, with the movies we've seen lately, and I know there haven't been a lot of good ones lately, but this feels the most inspired movie I've seen in quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, in this genre of, not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. This genre of satanic cult, isolated places where everyone's trying to kill you, you have to survive. So far, and I think this one has done it the best. It made it the most fun. It's not trying to scare you in every scene. It does have some scares in there, but it's just fun. I mean, right off the back, it's fun. In the movie, I didn't expect that at all. And it's got James Remar, Raiden's in here. Patricia Arquette's in here.
Who the fuck are you?
Every scene in this movie has something to like in there.
Yeah, so let me give you some setup here. So we obviously got Zazie Beetz, who stars as Asia Reeves. Movie starts with an opening, which is a little bit funny. Movie starts with an opening where her and her sister are running away, kind of from their this guy. Kind of find out it's their dad. They're running away from him, and they go to a store. And what that part is not funny. It's funny how bad this clerk is of knowing danger. You have these two girls running here. This guy comes in pissed off, and they just hide, and he's like, They're in the back, and I'm like, buddy. So basically running away from their dad, get into a situation where Asia, played by Zazie, has to defend her sister. Basically ends up injuring him and having to run. So getting away there, and that's kind of movie kind of starts from there, and leaving her sister behind, which is the setup for later in the movie. We flash forward. She is taking the job at this I guess I don't even want to call it a hotel, but this massive building, kind of built like a hotel.
The Virgil was built in 1923. Today, it's one of the most exclusive buildings in Manhattan.
The Virgil. So goes to this building, obviously, to take this job, and then we kind of get in there, and it's very suspect. When she, like, Zazie Beetz is very suspect when she goes in here. She's like, "Oh, what's your name? Oh, here's my name. Here's my ID." She's just very like, "Huh? Is that really her? Like, is she faking? Why is she faking who she is?" You can tell that right off the bat. Gets in there. Obviously, people are nice, but it's a very like nice and also weird presence that you get. Obviously gets into her room there, and this stuff you see in the trailer. Gets into her room, and from there, she takes a shower, a little steam on the window, gets out of the shower, thing written down, "They will kill you," right on the mirror. So, and the movie kind of goes from there. So, we got to get into here, but I think there's a lot of factors playing here, which makes this movie so inspired and entertaining. One, I think Zazie Beetz is really good in this role. Now, question, I think Zazie Beetz, one of the best looking women in Hollywood. I'm just going to say that right now. She's so attractive. But not only that, I think she does this, and I was thinking about this during this movie. I think she does this action part and carries this role well. My thing with Zazie Beetz is I always wonder how much range does she have? Because I feel like her roles are kind of like, if you were to take her right out of Atlanta and throw her in this movie and say you taught her, I don't know, kung fu in between, could basically be the same character. So I wonder how much range she has, but I also think, like, I don't see her, and I'm a main movie watcher, basically things that hit the theaters. I still don't see her enough.
Yeah, I don't see her enough either. I mean, in the mainstream movies, I've seen her in quite a few shows and indie projects, but as far as main movies, yeah, you're right, we don't see her enough. But she might not want to do enough. She might be selective. Yeah. Like, there are a lot of actresses and actors that are selective, and whether agents is throwing movies at them or not, or people throwing roles at them or not, they're like, no, I want to do something that means something to me. which I completely understand. That's how I would be. I wouldn't just take any old thing that's just any old stupid little movie. They asked me to do Barney and Friends. I'm like, no, not doing Barney.
Yeah. So here and there and talking about obviously the like about this movie, hour and a half, and they say, look, we got about 8 minutes to set up and we gotta go. We still got the ending credits to roll in this hour and a half. So we gotta go. So from there, initially, people start to break into the room that she's in, and it actually goes from there. But a nice little twist here. Once she gets in there, she is very prepared for people to come in and go after her. Now, almost a little too prepared as these people who come after her quickly to find out. So I think the action sequences are good, and something that I think they do. In some movies, I feel like the action sequences in a certain set piece may go on too long. This movie, I didn't really feel that. Like, I felt like they had good timing on, like, we understand, and that's kind of we understand this character cannot fight forever. Like, especially in one scene, like I will bring up John Wick. I saw a couple years ago. I mean, there's some scenes of John Wick where he's pretty much fighting for like 10 minutes of screen time. And I don't know if you've ever been in a fight, you understand like how long those fights go. You'll be exhausted to the point where somebody's probably gonna be able to kill you. And I feel like in this setup, they set these fight sequences up well, where it's like, there's a few people that she'll get hurt. Now, she ain't bulletproof. She will get hurt in this movie, and I think they portray that very, I don't say realistically, because her fight skills are beyond the level of realism, but they make it still seem plausible. Like, she's able to get hurt, but she's only fighting a couple people, and she's able to move on or run or escape from there, that's why I think these fight sequences are so good.
Yeah, I think she went to jail for 10 years, and I won't even get into her going to jail for 10 years for what she did, defending herself. I thought that was excessive.
Yeah.
for what we saw, 10 years.
She had a bad lawyer.
And what was it? Yes. And what was actually, I said, a public defender should have got her off after that, or at least got her down like with several years probation. That's terrible. But she's not a combat expert. She went to jail for 10 years, so she was forced to fight. And it seemed like from some of the flashbacks that she was not only forced to fight, but she was also defending weaker women in the women's prison she was in. So it's believable because she's going against people like as you see in the trailer,
the average
just running at her with an axe in the air like this. So those people can get taken out easily. So and the stuff that she brought with her, some of those are one-hitter quitters. So I mean, you can't do anything about it anyway. So once she gets a one-hitter quitter over, it's over.
Yeah, no, they are definitely weapons that if you get hit by them, you're pretty much done. Also, the fact that there's a reason for this. I won't tell you the reason, but these people who she's fighting are very not capable, even not even your average person. some level of, you understand once you see the building, they're kind of like rich assholes, and it's like, okay, I can see her tearing them apart. So but also too, you get these great action sequences, but you also come to find out very soon why she's in there. So at the beginning of the movie, she had her sister, who's Maria Reeves, who's played by Mahala, who I maybe have seen once. She looks familiar. I just don't know where I've seen her, but her sister's in there also working, and she comes to obviously find her because she's gone missing. She doesn't know where she is, and comes to find out she's working in this place. Says, hey, why has she gone missing? Let me go in there. That's why she infiltrated and stole someone's identity to get in there. So there's kind of that setup of that she gets in there, and like Scotty said, leading to Ready or Not 2. Once she gets in there looking for her sister, they're like, she's with us now. You're really not taking her. And not only that, like, while you're in here, you're not going to make it out, and we're locking the doors because we can't let you out. So kind of goes from there into a bottle film. I think they do some very creative stuff in this movie, definitely with some of the scenes. Like, there's a scene where she is trying to escape, and to get there, obviously, she's well overran by people. There's way too many people. To escape, there's like an under tunnel where she can go to. And I think the filming and how they set that up, they do it really cool. It almost reminded me of what is that movie with Hugh Grant? The one where they go downstairs and he's running he has the two girls come over and he's running and he's talking to them about religion. Then he sends them to the basement.
Heretic.
Heretic, there we go. Kind of reminds you of some Heretic shots that they have in this movie, where you can kind of see a backspan of how that underground layout kind of plays out, which I thought was really good. I don't know the budget. Actually, I should look that up real quick, but
20 million.
20 million?
20 million.
Wow. Okay. Well, you talk about getting the most out your money, and unlike Undertone, I feel like I got the least out of the little money.
Let's say it's 35 million. What's really killing me, I didn't want to interrupt you, what's really killing me is that an opening weekend, it only made not opening weekend, opening day, it made 1 million. I thought their butts were going to be getting seats yesterday. But as of right now, I think it's made maybe 3 million out of the 20. I was surprised about that. And the critics were giving it hell. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, well, we'll get that a little later. Honestly, I haven't heard many critics talk about it yet, but I think it's probably 35 million with marketing and all that, but 20 million they actually spent on production. I think they get the most out of that 20 million. Like, I think this movie, and I can see why it hasn't made a lot of money yet. This is probably gonna have to run off of word of mouth, because to be honest, like, we talked about it. We weren't super excited coming in, and I leave with a different feeling, and we'll get to that a little later. But I think those shots look good. I think they do a lot of stuff creatively. Now, she does get some help when she gets here, so I got to shout this character out. Peterson Joseph plays Ray, who is in there, and he's very very early on, like, kind of like, he's a sketchy character. You understand, when you go into these places and everybody feels normal, and you see somebody who's kind of sketchy, kind of looks untrustworthy, and things go to hell, and everybody's in on it, that's that one character that's your friend.
Yeah, and Ray was trying to help from the beginning. The only scene that I didn't like actually involved Ray. That's the only scene I didn't like. And he's the guiding light in a small part of the movie, telling her how she can get out, telling her what everything in there is about. And it's kind of like, he's like, yeah, I've been involved with this stuff. It's time for me to stop. And I was sitting there, I was like, and you get the feeling of no one in this whole entire hotel is competent. They've just been able to have lure people in here and get rid of them because they have overwhelming force. It's like 60 people in there. And that's something I really, really liked in the movie, because they show that. They show most people in there are bumbling. Yeah, there is a couple guys in there that can fight. They might not be able to know how to use all the weapons, but they can fight. They are strong. But most of it is just overwhelming force. I just like how they tried to add a little bit of realism in there. Even the part, just a small part, when you mentioned the tunnels, when they're crawling in the tunnels, like crawling faster, I like that part, because I'm like, it's not CGI, it's not sped up, it's just they're crawling really, really fast. That's what we had to do, like, in firefighter training before. I was like, that little tiny part of the movie, I thought that was really cool. And then they had the scene, which I will not give away, but the greatest scene that should have been complete nonsense with the eye.
That is really, see, we'll talk about, we'll do some spoiler in a minute here, but I think I think they do a lot well what they're using here, and like you said, they do have an overwhelming force in that kind of panels out. And another thing too is, like, there is a constant, like, flashback and flash forward in this movie, where they take little scenes and they blend it into kind of the actions going on. And I think that does well to the story, as it lets you know who these characters are in depth. And in an hour and a half, you don't have a lot to get to learn these characters, but they do cover important parts, like Asia, when she's in prison, and kind of what's going on there, and kind of how she's learned to fight. They kind of show that Maria, and how she got in the situation where she went off to work at this hotel, and explained in the relationship, because when they see each other, Maria is exactly happy to see Asia, and she's got some level of reason, because of certain stuff. I don't want to spoil, but she has a reason why she's like, yeah, you've kind of abandoned me to this point, because you went to prison and I haven't seen you, and I've kind of got a screwed over situation. So there's some beef to handle out, and she has to decide, like, hey, I'm kind of living a pretty good life here, like, compared to what we were going through before. Like, this isn't bad at all. So I think they do a lot of stuff well. To wrap this up, because there's a lot to talk about with and it's hard to talk about without a spoiler. I will say, like, you're on the edge of seeing this or don't know, you definitely should. This is a very fun movie. And like I said, this is inspired. You can see it in the filmmaking. You can see it in the action. Kind of in this, they create this their own kind of world inside of this, like, hotel or just stay where people are, and they do a lot of explaining in the backstory rather quickly to get that done. Also, somebody got shout out Patricia Arquette. She's kind of the ringleader of these maids they have here, and she's also really good. Like, I think all the characters, I mean, Tom Felton's in here. I think all the characters are really good, really fun. They take their role in there. It would seem like if you worked on this movie, you would be having a good time, like working on this movie, and that's how it felt. You can tell that because it portrays off. So I guess I'll throw my rating first. Like, I think this is a high price admission. You go in there, you pay full price. And it does, I know the trailer doesn't make it seem like a full price movie, but you go there and say full price. I think you're walking out saying, man, that was a good time. Not only was that a good time, when it comes out maybe on VOD, or if I have somebody who hasn't seen it, I might go see it again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna go see it again, but it isn't a high price admission. Absolutely. Like, you got your money's worth. It's just like you. I was sitting here the other day. I think I said in one of the previous videos, I was like, that's going to be like the most average of averages movie, probably below average, because I had just seen Ready or Not 2 and I was comparing the two. I think this is much better. I go as far as to say much better as Ready or Not 2. So in that genre, that might be one of the best I've seen, period. So yeah, a high price admission for me. I don't think any scene was in the movie that I disliked. There's just some scenes I liked better than other scenes.
Yeah, I'll agree there. But yeah, go ahead and hit that like button and comment down below if you are going to see it. Let us know. We are going to hide the spoilers because there's just so much in here that you can't talk about without spoiler. That's even back at the beginning of the movie. So this is your spoiler warning, but go see it. Definitely is worth a watch. So if you have seen it to this point, man, she gets in here, and as you know, finds out killing these people ain't doing you no good. And that adds to the effect of the movie in the battlefield, because they can't die. They can't die, and like I said, they have a lot of cool sequences that kind of panel off that. One, to show you that, like, there's nothing and they kind of go that when she talks to her sister and they link up. There's like, ain't nothing you can do. You got to get out of here, because this is not a fight you can win as a mortal person. Yeah. And I do like that, because they found creative ways to stay alive, and kind of it became more instead of a like, I'm gonna take everyone on because I'm just a better fighter, versus like, oh, I need to hide and sneak around because if we don't, we're gonna end up dead. But like you said, that eye scene, one of the more creative, fun scenes I've seen, and the fact that, like, I thought some of the best effects when she blew off that woman's head, and she was able to walk around without a head, and just like it didn't just grow right back on and take 2 seconds. They didn't flip the screen and flip it back, her head's back. Like, they do spend some money in how these people look when they're injured, and how these people look, when their bodies are torn apart, and even a little money saying, oh, you kind of look like Beetlejuice when you're coming back to life here. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and that scene with the eye when it's trying to go up, where Zazie Beetz' character had run up into the vent, and it kind of Spider-Man launches itself and ricochets up on the vent. I said, that's gold. That's gold. Yeah. Whoever thought of that, that's something I would have thought of, something silly like that. But it doesn't seem stupid. And the scene, my favorite scene, like when there's like her sister had just helped her kill the big guy, the one guy out of the whole group that can actually fight. And when he was giving Zazie Beetz the beat down, and the whole scene went black and turned out all the lights and whatnot, and she has to fight with the axe that's wrapped around with the claw.
With the fire.
It's very Kill Bill-ish, some of these scenes. Like, I think Quentin Tarantino could have directed this as like a 3-movie series, honestly, because it's a lot of different things that feel like kind of chapters, and just the way it just really felt like an old 80s movie in some points of the movie. I was enjoying it. Every time that a chapter name came up, or she was facing the camera looking like a badass before she's about to do something, I said, oh, this definitely has some inspiration from Kill Bill. I saw it. I said, but it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I actually wish you mentioned that earlier. I didn't even think about that. It is very lined up with Kill Bill and just the chapters and the way the action goes. And like I said, that is an awesome scene where they're moving around the shadows. And it's also the way we're like, can't none of them fight. You know, as soon as she gets some light in there, it's a wrap for them. And it's funny when they walk in because everybody's trying to capture her. They understand like if she does live, and they have this whole demonic thing where it's like she has to be the sacrifice. And the fact that she's now the sacrifice, that this screws all of them, and all of them get to die. So they're very both much working against time, where she's trying to survive and they're not. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool action sequences. I wish we did mention that earlier before the spoiler started. But yeah, I think that one is very inspired. You get this crazy boss fight at the end with the tentacles, which is like it's fun, doesn't go on too long, but it's very tongue-in-cheek of like, yeah, we know this is silly, but we're just here to have a good time and understand that. And I just think in an hour and a half they packed a lot. And I'm gonna be like pissed, like a movie like Undertone, like I said, which I feel like isn't very inspired because it's horror, went in there first weekend, made 20 times its budget. I feel like this movie, even if it's 35, 20 million, whatever, like this deserves some praise because this is the level of inspired filmmaking you want to see. You want to see somebody who takes something simple, which is not a very complicated premise. Throw somebody in, we said this a million times, throw somebody in a hotel, lock them in there and say, you got to fight to get out. They have a couple action skills. And I think they do it very creative with their shots, their scenes. They play with light, like you said. They play with shadows. There's people moving around. They play with horror a bit. It's not really a horror movie, but they play with some horror elements along with a lot of action. And I think they do it some of the best I've seen from a lower scale movie.
Yeah, and the final boss, which at that point I play video games a lot. When she, first of all, it's hilarious that they all have to write their name on a pig's skin, like on a pig's face, to stay alive. But when the pig said it's time for the final battle, I said, "Oh, Mortal Kombat again?" And she put the pig's face on her, and the tendrils would come out, and she was moving like an X-Men character or something. I said, "Oh, this is hard right here."
Yeah, they have a lot. When that pig had that tentacles, I was like, they're not gonna end up fighting him, aren't they?
Yeah,
and of course they do.
I thought it was going to turn bigger because they had in the movie first trailer came out. I could have sworn they had the pig's head, but it was much bigger, and he was like eating full people. That's kind of what I remember from the very first trailer that came out. And he had in the second trailer, so I thought he's going to turn into something much bigger. But it was just a pig's head on her body, and he was going ham. It's almost like, hey, put my head on your shoulders. You don't know what you're doing. Let me show you something. It's like,
yeah. No,
it was a really good movie, really good time. No one was in my theater for some reason, but it was just me and two other couples in there. But
yeah, that was the thing.
Everybody the people that were in there had a good time.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of people in there, so I hope word of mouth gets out because I think audiences are liking this. I think the critic score, if I had looked, the critic score was 69. Let me see real quick.
Yeah, it was 69.
Yeah, critic score 67%, audience score 83. So people who have seen it do like it a lot. Yeah, so let's wrap up there. I mean, there's a lot going on in this movie in a short amount of time, but I definitely recommend, again, go see it. Even just listen to the spoiler. It's worth the fun. You go see it. You go with your friends, go with your partner, and go see it. You'll have a good time. So that's it. But Scotty, wraps up for Minor League Films, both price submission for us. People aren't here on YouTube. There are other places, but they want to hear from us. Where can they do that at?
We're in Minor League Films on all social media: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and we have mlfshorts on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Also, Chrono Comics, which is my solo channel on TikTok.
There you go. Everything is down in the bio. So one more time before you get out of here, like the video, let us know what you thought of it. Comment down below. Helps us out a lot, and share it too. If you like what you're seeing, want some friends to check it out, that would be much appreciated. All that good stuff. We will catch you next time.